Good morning, everyone. I'm Todd Benton. I'm the leader of the Parent Information and Networking Group, and I welcome you to our first meeting of 2021-2022 school year. If you don't already know, I'm assuming you're all here, so I know you saw the message from Dr. Fowler about peeing, and it's really an opportunity to get to know other students, other parents, find out what's going on at the school, ask questions of Dr. Fowler. That's really what Ping is all about, the opportunity to connect with other parents, learn about what's happening in the school, hear from Dr. Fowler, ask him questions, ask other parents, support our students and really create the best environment we can at the school for learning, for growth. So welcome to our first meeting. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Fowler.
Hi, everybody. So obviously, haven't had an opportunity to meet all of you. I'm Dr. Fowler. I'm the principal of the high school. I look forward to working with you frequently this year and in the future. We have a lot of kind of great things rolling out this year that I can't see everybody. Hold on one second. That I think is really going to make our school and our programs that much more amazing. But first of all, I'm just really glad to be back to in person. I think that the last 18 months has been very, very rough for for everybody, to be fair, but especially for our students. And it's great that we're going to be able to have a year, hopefully with very, very few interruptions, that we can get back to the things that we do well. I think it's important that we're going to have a homecoming dance this year that's coming up kind of in October. We've already started our sports programs. Those are in place. And I think the kids just missed interacting with each other. I mean, one of the things that I really noticed the first couple of weeks was just the affection that the kids had for each other, having not seen each other in person for a while in many cases. And I think that's a great place to start the school year, and also affection for the staff, because I think a lot of, especially our 10th graders this year that were our 9th graders last year, hadn't really met a lot of our staff in person. And so having the first time to actually meet a teacher that you've had for a whole year and actually interact with them in person, I think that was really meaningful for a lot of the staff and for a lot of the students as well. So welcome back. While I'm on the topic of COVID, we are constantly learning new things from the state and the county about different procedures, different policies, different things that are in play. There are new guidelines coming from CDE and from the San Diego Health Department almost on a weekly basis that really changes how we interact with students that come back positive and close contact. And a lot of that is really becoming creating situations where we can do more with kids without having to isolate quite so many at a time. So as some of those new policies and things roll out, hopefully we'll be able to keep more kids in school and be able to maintain the good things that we're doing and still provide the opportunities that we need. So as of right now, we're just kind of getting rolling with our dual enrollment program at Palomar. Those classes started this last week. Palomar is still virtual with the exception of a couple of science labs. So it's been interesting to try to negotiate the kids needing to come to a classroom and log on with the Palomar professors at given times and do the work live with those parents synchronously with those professors that are online during that time, and kind of negotiating the need to interact on a couple of different platforms with a couple of different software programs and stuff like that. But I think we've worked out a lot of the bugs on that, and our kids in our math and our psychology program are already doing very well. They already have their first major term paper is just a week or so. So I think that that's a program that the kids really have learned to enjoy. It would really be great though if we could get those professors back on our campus as soon as possible. And we're hopeful that for the spring semester, Palomar will free up their professors to be more in person. And hopefully maybe even before that. So, you know, if things change, if their policies change, those professors are supposed to be synchronous and teaching the kids during class time. So there's nothing that would stop them from coming and being on our campus if Palomar's policies free that up a little bit and they're able to start sometime a little earlier than next semester. That would be wonderful. We've also have some new programs in place. So we have our new CTE computer science and engineering program in place that's kind of being right now led by one person with some interaction with Palomar and some of our dual enrollment programs that are in process of being built that'll be in place for spring through Keith Good, who's our new CTE guy. And he's doing a lot of really interesting things in the last couple of weeks with 3D printers. The kids are actually learning how to measure. They're learning how to take measurements and photos and put them into code so that they can 3D print items. Right now we have not yet got our new computer.
Someone needs to mute, please.
I know, that's the solution was.
Okay, there we go.
We have
Go
not yet got our new computer lab completely in place yet. There was some holdup on getting some of the wiring and stuff done for the classroom that actually is still not complete. But once that's done, his classroom will have really kind of high-end computers in there with access to I think there's going to be in total 5 3D printers in there. Some of the things that they're working on doing is they're actually printing a 3D printed rocket, which they'll then be doing some engineering on and designing themselves. And we'll have a safe place for the kids to launch those things. So hopefully, you know, we don't have any catastrophic explosions, but, you know, I'm sure there'll be some that fail. And we'll be able to kind of, you know, learn as much from that as we do from those that go soaring into the sky. So hopefully that program is growing. And we have a lot of great things coming and a lot of software that we haven't really made use of yet. My apologies. Hold on one second. My cord got unplugged there and I was dying. So that's a new program that's in place. We have a new art teacher and a new art program that's rolled out as well. She's absolutely amazing. Miss Healy, and she's got a lot of great ideas for art, which really incorporates the 3D printers and really incorporates a lot of the technology. She's going to be introducing the kids to a lot of different kinds of art and a lot of different competitions in art. So that's getting started. We have our new drama program that's being taught by Jen Ariano, and those of you that had her as a teacher down at Bonsall L may not have known that she also had a career in Hollywood. She was the writer of a number of children's movies. Well, I guess movies, not all of them were children's movies, but she was the writer of My Friend Flicka 2, a cartoon that I know that some of the kids were excited that person was working with them because they'd seen that movie. And she's done a number of other things as well. So she has contacts kind of in the industry. And she's really has a pretty ambitious plan to have a couple of different outings in theater this year. So hopefully with our COVID restrictions, we'll be able to do some things outside. We'll be able to do some things in smaller settings, like a black box theater with fewer people. We'll be able to kind of roll out some pretty amazing dramatic performances over the course of this year, and we'll be in next year as well. For sure, doing really our plan is to become a part of the California High School Thespians Society. But to do that, the kids have to be able to do at least 6 performances a year. That really opens up the opportunities for those students in those programs to get all kinds of scholarship money that a lot of times goes untouched, and also gives them opportunities to be part of organizations that are specifically for people that are, interested in theater or playwriting or costume design professionally, even as students. And so that'll be something that we'll be doing very soon. So that's kind of our new programs. We're rolling out right now. Our cross country team has formed, and they haven't had their first official league runs yet, but they did have a couple of practice meets, and that I think they have their first one coming up next week. That's their first official run. Our girls volleyball team has been practicing consistently, and they have their first game today, actually. So they'll be off to do that a little bit later this afternoon. And our basketball team, that as you probably recall was league champions last year, have already begun sort of informally getting together to condition, and the coach has a meet and greet scheduled very soon. In fact, I'll tell you the exact date for those of you that have kids that want to be part of that. For September 14th at 6:30. So really looking to recruit and get the best team out there so we can repeat our league championship. And I think a lot of that is just really getting rolling now. So our expectation is that our sports will go off without a hitch this year. We have our new esports team is rolling out this year. We did buy some really pretty high-end gaming computers so that the kids that have that particular skill set can begin that season. The next season really starts in October. So our new kind of gaming lounge is been wired and been set. Our computers are here. We've actually had a couple of limited practices for the esports club, and once that continues, we'll have probably the esports team will be formed out of the club, and we'll be able to start our competitions in earnest in October. Esports is a really growing field, and there are all kinds of organizations and programs that really are kind of throwing money at it right now. So it's a good way to kind of leverage the fact that kids like to play video games with, here's some opportunities to, first of all, on the school level, get some equipment that we need, and at the same time, get some experience for the kids and some scholarships for the kids. Esports, actually, the UC system, for instance, gave out more scholarships in esports last year than they did in all their other sports combined. So it's really something that's becoming a major sort of focus of a lot of the bigger UCs. UC Irvine is actually the international champion right now in esports, and so that's something that these kids, if they get good at a high school level, they can leverage that, and that can get them a spot in a four-year university, which I think is really neat. And there's also, I'm always asked about the health components of that and really calling that a sport, because it is sanctioned by high schools. There's also a wellness component of that. There's actually some stretching that has to be done before every game. There's some wellness components of that, some diet things that they have to do. So it really is a sport in that sense. As there's a warm up, they got to do some running, they got to do some stretching, they got to do some stuff before they sit down to really do their competition. And I think that's interesting, and it's nice that it kind of creates that balance and that real need to be really consider the kind of mind-body connection before, when I think competitive gamers, I kind of have this idea of a bunch of people in a basement drinking Mountain Dew, and that's just really not what we're trying to put out there. In fact, we're putting out there that, the healthier you are, the stronger your mind's going to be, the better your reflexes are going to be. And that's kind of really where that's going. Health and safety continues to be kind of a major concern. I talked a little bit about COVID. That's something that's going to be challenging for sure this year. So really the big thing I can say is, parents, if your child is sick, please keep them home. If we do have to go to isolation with just for our close contacts, if you consider a classroom, everybody that's within 6 feet of that student could get sent home for, depending on if they're vaccinated or not, between 7 and 14 days. And that really can pull kids out of in-person schooling for a good period of time. So we really want to limit that as much as we can. So making sure that our kids are well before we send them to school. They're wearing their mask when they're at school, and that that they're being smart about their interactions, and that the teachers are keeping kind of their seating charts and everything up to date, so that we know exactly who could potentially be affected. Those are huge components of our program. We're no longer required to do the daily health check that we were doing last year. I think we were all a little afraid of that, because just the morning check-in in the parking lot with basically half of our kids last year, took about 15-20 minutes. And with everybody trying to crowd in at the same time, that would have made traffic on Lilac really, really problematic with the middle school and high school. So that's not something that really any district is doing anymore, and that's been actually pulled off the requirement list. And even the parent morning thing is considered optional. It's not something that parents are required to do. I think it's still a great resource. So I'm still really pushing that we all do that. And I know there's been some issues with our technology. It was something that was supposed to be kind of taken over by the district, pushing out the same message to every student. But we actually went from Aries Communications to Aries bought out a company called Parent Squared, and Parent Squared doesn't have that ability to send things out just on the daily basis. They send out instead calendar invites every morning. So a lot of parents are not getting the reminders every morning in their email to click that. And so we haven't seen as many parents do the reminders we can. I've tried a couple of different things. I think there's something in place where you are now getting a daily email, but that's been very problematic. So that's something we're continuing to work on with our tech department to make sure that continues. And like I said, the COVID guidance that comes from the county and the state changes literally almost every other day. And we are doing everything we can to keep up with that and make sure that kids are doing that. We do have a couple of other good positives that are coming out of kind of the COVID era. Breakfast and lunch are free for all of our students. So anytime a kid wants food, breakfast, come in a little bit early. Usually for the high school, it opens around 8:30. Lunches are free for all the kids that need them. Even kids that are on independent study, or kids that have chosen the district independent study program, families can make arrangements to pick up weeks at a time food baskets. And I think that's important for some of those families. And what else? What else do I have to say? I think I pretty much covered my big items. Todd, I see you're talking.
Sorry. Yes, there are some questions in the chat which I answered, but I want to make sure I'm accurate. So one of the questions was, can I ask when we'll be able to see grades in Aries, and how much of classwork is being done in Google Classroom? And I answered that high school grades and classwork is in Canvas, and you still can sign up to be an observer, right?
You can.
Yeah.
You can. That was sent out before school started to all, but I'll make sure I include that information on the Friday letter tonight.
Okay.
There'll be a link that you can click on from my Friday message this evening, where you can go ahead and be an observer. So
Yeah.
I apologize if that hasn't been communicated well. But yeah, so you can watch your students' classes. You can see kind of, what's not being turned in. Really interact a lot more through Canvas than you could through just looking at a grade on Aries. So that's a great way to go, and we'll make sure that happens. So feel free to click on that and get that started.
Dr. Fowler, I've heard from my students, so it's important for me to keep a close eye on him early in the year so we don't
Absolutely.
lose track. So that's why I'm asking. And I'm sorry I missed that in your prior communications. I have been trying to read them all. Can I ask just what extent of classwork is being done through Canvas versus on paper? Like, will we have a good picture of how our kids are doing just from Canvas?
Almost everything is done through Canvas. So I would say probably 85% of the work is done via Canvas. The stuff that is turned in, in paper, like, quizzes, that kind of stuff, those things are graded and then put onto Canvas. So you'll actually be able to see, that as well, even if you can't see the test itself, you'll be able to see the grades. And a lot of times teachers actually send or upload the quizzes themselves afterwards, just so the kids that maybe missed it can go through and use that as a resource for studying for the future or what have you. So that helps. But yeah, I'll make sure that goes out in my Friday letter so that, I'm seeing a couple people apparently that went past people or didn't get out efficiently. So I'll make sure we do that. So I'll go through the chat here a little bit. Senior class rankings. Senior class rankings don't come out until second semester. That's true everywhere. So that's something that will be announced after the fall semester grades are in. So probably around February 1st. That's one of the things but students kind of know where they are. In fact, if you look at their transcript view, a lot of times you can kind of get a preview of kind of where they are currently, although those things change a little bit this semester. Really with college applications, if you put top 10%, top 25%, if you're trying to do things really early, that usually suffices. So that's one way to go. And otherwise there'll be opportunities for that, for more specifics on that for later in the year. There will be some opportunities for parent volunteers. In fact, I know right now we're sort of limiting the number of adults that we have on campus just because we can't control adults in quite the same way we control students. So we need to, until we get things kind of situated, not a whole lot of parents are really needed on campus or for that reason. But we do have some events coming up where there'll be some opportunities for parent volunteers. We will need some parent volunteers, for instance, for our homecoming dance, which is coming up in mid to late October. We'll be needing some parent volunteers. We are still planning to try to do our school-wide field trip. Our tentative date is in December. We'll need a bunch of volunteers for that, in fact, and that will be, going on the bus down to San Diego, kind of ongoing. And once we sort of get a little more organized, there'll be a call for a couple of more parent members for our school site council. And honestly, being part of this group, you guys will have the first opportunities to come out and help out, and Jennifer will speak a little bit kind of about BEF as well, probably at some point during this.
Yes, if she can do that now, she has another meeting at 10, so that's perfect timing. You're on mute. You're on mute, Jennifer.
I always do that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Anyway, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Fowler. And it's nice to see some familiar and new faces. So I represent the Bonsall Education Foundation. And one great way parents can help right now is to contribute to our Support Our Students campaign, SOS. And the foundation works with all the schools in the district. And all you have to do is go to our website, bonsallschools.org, and you'll see your school's button down at the bottom, and you can click on it. And we'd love a minimum goal of $25 per student, but you're certainly not limited to that if you'd like to give more. And I think for the high school, they've talked about their teacher grants, sports, college and career, the arts, and then the senior, junior, sophomore, and freshman class activities. Those are the things they'd like to raise money for. And for example, teacher grants, if a teacher has some big project coming up and they need to supplement their curriculum with other items, then they can write a little request to the principal. The principal, Dr. Fowler, would have the ability to decide what the money gets spent on. The foundation doesn't figure into that. And then he would approve, and we would either reimburse the teacher or make the purchases for the teacher. Anyway, it's a really great way to support your students, support your teachers, support the school to get everything that they need so that they can have a successful classroom year. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for letting me get in there.
And kind of building off of both of those things, we are finding it very, very difficult, not only as a school, but as a district, to find staff members. So anybody that wants to be an avid tutor, that wants to be, have a 4-hour a week or 4-hour a day job as a paraprofessional, or even some teaching positions, not at the high school, but at the elementary school level, are open. And there's always a need for subs. So if you're qualified for any of those things and you got free time, or you know people that are, you might want to have them reach out, because that's really, I think there's a worker shortage everywhere in every industry, but that's also true for sure in education. And we really could definitely use a few more paras on our campus. I know Bonsall L is short some teachers. And things like avid needs tutors, so all kinds of options. So real quick, I see we're kind of running out of time on the meeting, but I saw a question about the library. One of the which is what keyed that particular comment, is that we would love to have the library open more. We have purchased some resources that are more high school appropriate to go in the library, but the staffing for that extra time has been problematic. So that's something that once we're able to find some people to keep the library open a little bit more, we'll be able to keep it open a little bit more. The current librarians that we share with SMS have been great. They're wonderful people. They've taken on more duties this year for sure, and they've definitely done a lot more for the high school for sure this year. But they're limited in how much extra work they can do. So we definitely could use some extra people to help out with that for sure. But we do have quite a few resources that will be available either through the library or through individual classrooms that will be more high school appropriate. We've really expanded, probably by 1,000% over the last 2 years, the number of books, novels, textbooks, ebooks, everything else that we have available for kids. And that's something that really I don't see slowing, that we definitely want to create a literate society going forward for our students, and getting used to just picking up a book for fun, as well as for reading for assignments and those kinds of things, and access to those things that every educated adult basically needs to read. And I think we're moving in that direction. We certainly encourage that a lot with our kids, and the Study Sync curriculum through English that comes with a ton of novels has really helped with that as well. But we're also looking at other literacy programs to help just encourage students to do more reading, do more writing, and those are things that are in process and kind of in the beginning stages, but on the ground. The other thing I need to announce that I'd forgotten about is Superintendent Clevenger is doing fireside chats. And this will also be in my Friday letter today, but he will be coming out to Bonsall High School at 5 p.m. on September 14th. And he will be providing coffee, drinks, desserts, donuts, kind of a bribe to get more parents to come out. That will be after the school day, and it will be held outside. And it's really just an opportunity for him to hear from you, the parents. Staff members will be there as well, kind of what the needs of each individual school site are, what the district really needs to focus on. He has a couple of agendized items, but for the most part, it will be him listening. So come with your ideas, come with your thoughts, come with things that you feel like we absolutely need, and he'll be there to listen to us. And again, that's September 14th at 5 o'clock on our campus, and he's actually visiting all the sites. So you know, if the high school time doesn't work for you, he'll be at BHS in October. I know he has a virtual one planned in October as well. I think it's October 12th for the virtual one. But I would encourage you to be part of any or all of those as appropriate.
Do you want to talk about back to school night? I know you sent out a message about that, but.
Yes, and next Thursday is back to school night. That's also virtual. So in this evening's Friday letter, there will be a link that you can click on that will bring you to back to school night with me. I will present the you know, give kind of welcomes and just kind of talk about kind of what's going on. And then we'll be providing links to the individual classroom teachers with a schedule. So there will be basically 10-minute, 6-minute schedules for each classroom. It's kind of similar to what we do at in-person back to school night, where you can meet and talk to each of the individual teachers. They'll go over their syllabus. They'll talk about kind of their classes in general, what the expectations are, what they're actually working on, what they're going to be doing, as they would in person back to school nights. And that will be next Thursday, 5 o'clock.
Great. Are there any other questions? We have about 5 minutes remaining. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. I hope to see you at future PING meetings, and I hope we can meet in person, you know, at some point. And we had one meeting last year at the end of the year, but we'll just have to see how it goes, and we'll keep you informed as to whether we'll meet on campus or we'll be on Zoom for the next one. Generally, the first Friday of each month is the PING meeting. So again, thank you. And if you have questions, obviously, you know how to email Dr. Fowler, or you can also contact me. I know, so my email is Todd, TODD @bentonwebs.com. I'm always happy to answer questions, and just help guide you to the right person if you need help. I'll put my email in the chat as well.
And individual parents, if you're looking for a little bit more about the school, you know, 1 or 2 parents at a time, feel free to reach out to the office and talk to Miss Kara. We can probably give you a little more specifics. So if you want to come out for a you know, a little field trip and kind of a visit of the school, a tour, we can do that for individual parents. We just can't do that for crowds at a time. So if 1 or 2 folks want to come out, that would be great. Just email Miss Kara and or myself, and we can kind of go from there.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. And again, hope to see you soon, and hope to be able to meet you in person at some point here soon. All right. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.